Actually, if I didn't know any better, I'd say I was recording. 1 second.
Hello.
I am recording.
You're recording?
I'm trying to figure out what this. I got a speak set, and it's not running out of juice. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from. Oh, okay. That ain't it.
I have started recording as well. I don't know why I muted myself right before I said that.
Okay.
Very good. Excellent. We are all here. And good evening. There's 3 of us. I'm sure the rest of the team will start trickling in. Okay. Good evening. It is August 24th, 2017, Thursday. I am William Newing, product owner of Linwood Wikispeed, and currently in Newcastle tethering from my phone. And I look like I have paint all over myself because, yes, I was just painting. And there's a scrum team of 2 other folks downstairs that are continuing on while I participate in this. So I am very, very grateful for that. Among the other things that we've done in this last week as we get started, let's see. I reached out to the intern to see if we can get her the equipment, mugs, and t-shirts for photo this week, so we're going to have to push that off to next week. We'll need to allocate and check that in terms of the backlog items during crosstalk. I also found some articles we posted on LinkedIn. Thanks to Joe to make a few of us admins on the LinkedIn Wikispeed posting site. We tested out the taxes for the $1, and that was great. There are other things that were done, and I'm going to leave that to the folks that have the most responsibilities and the work correspondingly involved in that. So as far as next week, so we also set the time zone for the burn down. I think it is already set for the Pacific Standard Time. If that needs to be changed, let's do so. We did change the burn down so it actually ends. It starts and ends on Thursdays, so we can actually have an accurate view of what our sprint looks like in terms of points, cards, and completion, and hence our burn down. Today we were trying to hedge through on the Bitcoin and also the Amazon. It looks like the Amazon might have gotten done. We were, I think, hit a block with having to create a profile for Amazon, but it looks like that was tag teamed and someone else may have actually unblocked us. The Bitcoin, I think, was blocked due to not having enough of the information, and we will actually, or I will personally address that with Joe. It looks like he reached out, responded to that email, so that's what we're all, I believe, doing for our next sprint. Blocks are getting together with the intern, full-time job, I believe, or a part-time job, and to get her that information so we can get the mugs and t-shirts going in terms of getting that to completion. The Bitcoin process, we may be diving down a bigger hole of what else do we need and updates, since it is a cryptocurrency that is a very full type of industry. So we'll see where we are at and what we need still. Perhaps a new wallet, perhaps new updated security features, 2-step process to make sure that we have those allocated correctly. That's what I see as potential blocks. That's it for me. Who would like to go next?
Maybe I should go. I'm not sure how my signal is going to be here. It just started raining.
Okay, go for it, Michael. You have the floor. I will mute.
Both stuff in Saskatoon. Actually, I'm not in Saskatoon. I'm in now. And for the week, I have done almost nothing. Cleaning the info at Wikispeed, and my wife picked up some parts for doing the working on the electronics for the flares. That is about all that was done this week. My family was up at the lake, and it took much more time than I thought it would. So next week, I am looking at getting the Mazda rolling, making an appointment with sure to get inspected. And I should be able to change a switch out in one of the Polarises and get it rolling. At least I hope so. The no blocks, and I think that's pretty much it for me, except for it is actually hard to keep up about what all Chris and William are doing. But anyway, that's it for me.
Thank you, Michael.
I guess I'll go.
All right, Bruce, you have the floor.
Let's see. We worked on the taxes piece, and that came out very nicely. I've had a couple of sessions this week with Chris and William, which have been very nice, and put in a card on possibly encrypting stuff in, say, emails or on Slack, just in case we have to exchange information that's sensitive, because if we're working with billing type stuff, we may want to exchange account information and things like that. So I'm going to look into that. I updated a couple of the other cards having to do with automation, with a few more links. Didn't really follow through on any of that. I've been looking at it, but it's not anything that is earth-shattering, certainly. So other than that, pretty good. The only impediment that I really noticed this week was that William does not have a noise-canceling microphone. So we need to get him one so he can actually work outside in coffee houses and things without listening to the dishes. That's it for me.
Thank you. Very true. My apologies for that. I have a free HTC headset that came with, so it's not the best. Oh no, we lost Michael, but at least he did give his stand-up, so that's excellent. And thank you. He's back. And Bruce, for the record, you are from Boston. I'm sorry, I forgot the specific city.
I forgot that too.
And who would like to go next?
This is Lauren on Gabriola Island, British Columbia, Lauren Salter. And I did a little bit, I've been reading through more of the information from IRS on the charitable status, just to get an idea of what happens next. They do, like the patent office, they do assign somebody to you who will send you information. It sounds like the most common thing that happens is that they ask for more information. They may ask for more information. If it's denied, there's an appeal process. I've already written stuff about the statement of the purpose. So I found a sample statement of purpose that could work. It's really, really simple. It says we exclusively do this. So I'm probably going to draft something just so it's ready. And that's kind of that's that. And there's also something else I'll probably talk about in the crosstalk if I can stay on that long. And blocks are the usual. Oh yeah, and what I'm doing, pretty busy, probably similar. I might, like I say, do or preparatory things to do with the application. And there is actually a phone number you can call and ask for help. So, maybe we'll talk about that later.
Very good. Thank you very much, Lauren. And we'll see how fast we can get through this. Chris, I believe you are next.
All right, this is Chris Wallace. I'm the product owner of the Wikispeed Burleson, Texas, USA microfactory. And I'll quickly read from the Agile Manifesto. This is a quick one. It says, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. So last week, I believe I got this correct, we completed 102 points on the website backlog. One thing I'll show you all real quick. I don't know if there's any value to this. Well, maybe I'll show you. As I set up the, I don't know if you can see that. You probably cannot see that at all. It's way too bright. Okay. Anyway, so I set up the weather app on my phone so I can see the temperature and weather in all of y'all's locations. Just because, I don't know, I find it interesting to see what's going on in each of y'all's towns. So I received and unpacked the interior module from Rob Moorbacher in the Burleson Microfactory. I will have to modify my chassis in order to install it. Basically because it's set up for doors, and my chassis is not set up for doors, so I need to cut the top tubes. And I did try to get it in there, and it's actually possible for one person to pick it up. I think it weighs about 80 pounds, so it's a little unwieldy just because it's the size, but it's doable. If someone's not there to help, I should still be able to install it. Let's see. I set up a hangout for the solar eclipse watching party, which a couple people got on. I know Lauren did, and Joe did, and I believe Christina, the intern, did, but I missed. I stepped away when she joined the call, and then everything else. I don't know the best way to do this. This is kind of I want to try to do it quickly. This is going to be kind of a long list. So this is what we got done in the website backlog this week. So we updated the Wikispeed Expo 2017 venue. I added the address and contact info to Event Espresso, which I guess previously not there. We updated the plugins on the production website. Fixed an issue with the address, the physical address link on the bottom of the website, so that it now takes you to a Google map to show where the Wikispeed headquarters is. Cloned the production site to the test site so that we can in the future start doing some A/B testing. Of course, I already mentioned that we tested the sales tax on the booking plugin. We added cancellation and refund policy to terms and conditions for the booking plugin. This is a little technical, but the top section of the website, we switched from using breaks to padding, or actually it ended up being margins, in order to get the spacing correct. We researched how to add more sections to the current theme, and then we made the top section of the page a actual WordPress page instead of a custom PHP file, basically so that if we wanted to make changes to it, you actually had to previously you'd have to dive into some code. You'd have to be a little bit familiar with PHP and HTML, whereas now it's just a Wikispeed, a WordPress page, and anyone should be able to edit the information in that section. We made. I skipped a section here. The Meet the Team section, we put the names under the headshots instead of having to mouse over to see them. Made the nav menu links relative URLs where possible. It's actually not possible with the anchor links, but with actual page links, those are all relative now, which helps when we're cloning and moving the site back and forth between prod and test. And we just finished about an hour ago getting the Amazon payments plugin working, and also in the online store, fixed the check payment address. It was just a generic address there. That wraps it up for the website backlog. I have here to demo this site. I don't know if I may save that for crosstalk if we have time. For next week, I plan on the main focus is going to be marketing Wikispeed consulting services on various social media sites. And there are some more website enhancements we'll be doing. I believe if it's like last week, we'll actually have a sprint planning tomorrow for that if the rest of the team is available. The game plan is. I have on my list to add Bitcoin payments to the website store. I think that actually William and Joe may be taking care of that, or I may end up pairing if there's any blocks on that. And then I need to follow up with Mike Zarife with the way to join the volunteer development team and the what modules are available. Which is one thing that I hope that we get to is I want to go through the store and verify what modules are available and if the pricing is correct and things like that. The only block that I have is actually, and I don't know that I'm actually going to get to the shop this week, but if I do, the circular saw that I have, the safety button on it is broken off, which actually makes it either completely unusable or way more unsafe when you try to use it because you got to like jam something in there, get it spinning, and then put it into place. So I need to either get a new circular saw or try to fix this one because the last time I tried to use it, it was definitely not safe at all. And that wraps it up for me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. And that wraps up our stand-up. We will move forward onto our retrospective, which is rating yourself 1 to 10 of how happy you are in your role and how happy you believe that team is, also from 1 to 10. And should you have a process improvement, do share that with the team. If you don't, that's okay. Be prepared to vote for a process improvement at the end of our retrospective. We will attempt to correspond with the same chronological order that we had previously. Sorry, not chronological, but the same order that we had previously. I'll start off. I will give myself a 7. Similar to what I had last week, there was not that much bandwidth for me to actually work on much more of these items. That with more time, or at least a better correspondence of what's available and what else needs to be done, then I think we could probably attack more of what we need to in terms of this sprint and also being able to accelerate. Ideally, we're looking better, I think, in the long term. So I give the team a rockstar 10 because it's just amazing of how much we're getting through. We're seeing a good amount of progression, and our data is looking really solid for what our trajectory looks like in the coming sprint. And as a process improvement, I will look into headphones, but that's probably a personal one. Currently, I do not have one for the team. And I believe, Michael, you are next. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think I went next. I am going to give myself a 7, contrary to my planning or lack thereof. I'm not going to blame myself for having to spend more time on getting ready for my family than I thought, because I always underestimate that. So I'm going to give myself a 7, which is essentially 9 for me and -2 for my planning. And we're going to go with a 10 for the team. Things are going back. Actually, I guess you got to do a 9.5 for the team because a lot of stuff is getting done, and the only possible thing that could be better is if more people participated, unlike me, who has not actually done much this week. I do not have a process improvement, so I guess that's it for me.
Let's see. I'm going to give myself an 8. Could have picked up a little more on this particular week, but things conspired, and I just didn't quite hit it. Some local things happened, and I ended up having to deal with stuff. So, yeah. The team's going to get a 10 because we had some great pairing sessions, and we kicked ass on the backlog on this. I thought that was very good, and we also helped really get the backlog in good shape for the next time around. So I think that's going to stand us in good stead. Having ready stories and having size stories is super important, and I think being part of that is a good thing. So process improvement, I would say getting ahead of the backlog a little bit more, maybe. Just, I don't know. My sense isn't all that good on that. I think we've been pretty good on it, but I don't know. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. I may retract that and just say I don't have one. But I like what we did with the sizing, and I like what we did with clarification for the next time around. And what we pulled in was good, and I think the band, the safety band on there was very good. So, overall, real nice.
Very good. Thank you, Bruce. And I may bring that up in crosstalk just so I can get a clarifications. I have an intuition. I think I know where you're going. And I do agree that we can improve on that planning process, or at least get ahead of it. I could be wrong, so we'll save that for crosstalk. And Lauren, I believe you are next.
Okay, I'll give myself a 4. There was another thing I did. I remembered was I was actually going over my Scrum course notes and looking at the burn down chart on it. Team is 10. Process improvement. For myself, I want to. I've been looking at Trello. I haven't done anything with it, and also figuring out what I'm doing and some points and starting to enter those in the velocity for the velocity and everything to get involved in that.
All right, thank you very much, Lauren. Chris, I believe you're next.
Good deal. So I'm going to go with a 10 for me and a 10 for the team, basically for the same reason. I was able to pair with Bruce and William multiple times this week to on the website design. Also, in our sprint planning, we put in an interrupt buffer for things that would come up, because that had been an issue in the previous week. And actually, we didn't end up having as many interruptions, which allowed us to actually pull in even more stories from the product backlog once we got everything else done that wasn't blocked. As far as a process improvement goes, this kind of is based on something I ran into personally this week, with some stuff coming up that I didn't expect. So to definitely in your sprint planning, try to plan in some rest time or some downtime, because continuously going at a burnout pace is not sustainable. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind for sure. And that wraps it up for me.
Agreed. I think that is really important. You know what? It sounds like we don't have much of a specific process improvement, so I'm going to borrow that and integrate that into a process improvement. Let's all together agree on a specific day, if not a weekend then, that we do not work on work or Wikispeed or anything other than focusing on self and or family, because I think those are our top, our 3 life priorities. So my process improvement then, it sounds like we don't have any, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm known to be 99.9% wrong a lot of times, as Einstein says. So my proposed process improvement is, let's agree on a day of the week that we dedicate that to focusing on ourselves, on not working, and make sure that we either need to go to the gym or eat better or spend more on family time, any of those. That way we can recharge ourselves better for the upcoming sprint or upcoming work or Wikispeed, whatever it is that we're doing. Yes, one?
I would tend to want a, because everybody's schedule is different and everything, I tend to designate a particular time block. So say a particular time block, do that. Basically, whether it be Saturday, Sunday, whatever. So my suggestion would be to designate a time block rather than a particular day.
So, Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying that we should have a part of a day blocked out, and not necessarily a specific day.
And so suggest a recommended, say a recommended period of time, such as 3 hours or whatever.
I see.
In a week. And we could actually mention that as part of our, and actually say, so there we got a process improvement, and you can count that in your weekly, in your stand-up as something accomplished.
Yeah, and I would maybe add a modification to that too, to say kind of what William was going for. I think is just a solid day of not dealing with work or Wikispeed or any of this. Like you said, time for self and family. But I get what Lauren's saying. With our schedules are all different, so it may not be like a Saturday for everyone. It may be for one team member, it may be Tuesday or something like that. But it basically block out a whole day that you just rest and relax, have fun, whatever it is that you do to recharge your batteries.
Can I add something to that? Do we have a way of putting an awake so that people know that you're on your day off?
Good question.
That, since we're using Slack more, that
I know it shows if you're logged in or not.
Yeah, I know there's a sleep function, like a nighttime function, but I don't know if there's any others. But just in case, you're trying to get an answer out of somebody, at least you'll know, you're not going to hear from them for a day. I think it's just a good thing to do.
Okay. Let's do this as a revised process improvement, which is everyone has their own respective days and pick and chooses what day that may be. It would behoove us, each of us individually, to pick that specific day, if not by the end of crosstalk this evening, then by tomorrow, since tomorrow officially is the start of a new sprint. Day of the week that we think we're going to take, day of the week that we're going to take out to be for our self-recharge and break day. And share that on Slack and or email with the team, and then we will hold ourselves accountable by our next HighFive, aka stand-up, and check and see how that goes. How's that for a process improvement?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Maybe a couple challenges in implementation, but we can try.
I do see some possible challenges as well. There's quite a lot of variables that I can't start to rattle off other than something happened, or we needed to change that, or I picked this day but instead I couldn't and I needed to change out a different day, trying to be agile. So we'll see. Perhaps then everyone takes their respective one day, whichever that day may come up. But the better planning that we have on which day we're going to take, the better it is that we can really dedicate into recharging. I mean, if we plan our work so diligently and accomplish that so ferociously, then the same energy and focus theoretically should be applied to our rest day and our recharge day, because otherwise we won't be as rested, we won't be as energetic to accomplish what it is that we want to accomplish.
And I would have said, if we were not a distributed team of volunteers, definitely it being all set for the same day would be ideal for that exact reason. Because if somebody's blocked and they need to contact someone and it's their rest day, I mean, but again, I think we are trying to take care of that with everyone knowing what that day is going to be ahead of time. But the great thing about that is that's why this is called a process improvement experiment, right? We'll see it. We'll see how well it works.
Excellent. Sounds great. And so let's go ahead and I believe that's unanimous, actually, to be corrected. Sorry, slightly multitasked there. A friend of mine wanted to confirm for the next project or task that's on our Scrum board, and I will show you. And so, actually, I'll show you that in crosstalk. My apologies. And so, for multitasking, to me, works in progress. So, our process improvement thing, that's not what I wanted to do. Respectively, take a day to rest and recharge. Do share on Slack and or email. The earlier the better? Yes. This. Excellent. That wraps up our retrospective. That's moving us forward to crosstalk. I believe someone had something that they wanted to share before they head out. Is that correct? Or correct me if I'm wrong.
I have a question about Slack and whether anybody has enough experience with it to have a do not disturb feature, or does it have such a thing? I don't actually know.
There's a snooze function. I've got mine turned on. If somebody wants to just send something, I'll see if you get a message from me that says I'm snoozing.
Yes, and I just
Well, I got a message that you said that it was Sunday was your day off.
Yep.
Okay, best. Sent.
Currently do not disturb mode, may be alerted.
Yeah, it works. So not only does the icon next to your name show a little Z, when I sent you a message, it says Bruce Connor has snooze notifications. Send one anyway. Send notification. So, okay. so we probably won't send the actual. We won't send it anyway. But so it does work well enough. Where did you set that, by the way?
That was on. There's like a settings thing on the top right hand side.
Okay.
It's where the three dots.
Oh yeah, it's a snooze. Big button is the snooze right there.
And it'll give you a choice of how long you want to snooze for. I just set it for 20 minutes.
Awesome. Okay.
There's also a status you can say that you're vacationing.
That's true. There's online and offline status as well. I wasn't sure.
Where does the status show up? Does anybody know?
I'll set mine to vacation right now.
I think the status shows under.
I see a little icon beside your name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I have a palm tree.
And it says vacationing if you.
Little palm tree.
Yeah, and it actually says vacationing.
Okay. Cool.
Excellent. Look at
All
that.
right.
Great. I love Slack.
And welcome, Stanley. How are you? It's been a moment.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I've been finishing off my job kind of late, and taking advantage that I finished a little bit earlier than usual. So I decided, hey, I should join HighFive.
Fantastic. Gunnar was just asking about you today on the way here to the condo project that I'm currently doing with him. So it's amazing that you show up. I think he is around, and I hope that he comes around and wants to join stand up and be able to do so. But he's really excited about work as well, so he's going ahead. Would you like to share your stand up and or retrospect or anything, or your process improvements, anything at all?
Well, since it's been a while since I haven't participated in stand-up before, I don't have an update. And I think I didn't hear the retrospective improvement, or, yeah, so no.
Retrospects is looking great. We have an average of 7.2 personal, and then 9.9, same as last week, of our team rating. And our process is to respectively take a day to rest and recharge, and then do share that specific day on Slack and or email. The earlier the better to share. That's why we were just testing out that functionality right now. So that is our unanimous process improvement.
process improvement again, please?
Is to respectively take a day to rest and recharge. So we're not working on Wikispeed, we're not working on work. We're going to do whatever it is that we need to feel more rested, whether it's read a book, whether it's cooking, meal prepping for the week, doing laundry, spend more time with family, play with the kids, pets, anything, or the significant other, things like that.
Okay.
Yes. Excellent. Any other crosstalk items?
I have something for crosstalk. Actually, I have two things, and if we have time, I would like to demo the site real quickly. But William, on the burn down chart, today I tried on our interrupt buffer to move the estimate on it so that it would make the burn down chart more accurate on what was actually completed, because it's still showing something like 56 points that aren't completed when it's not true. But when I changed it, it did not update the actual burn down chart, and I think that's because it tracks the estimate by the day that you put it in. And I think from the doc file that if you have the pay version, you can actually go back by days and edit information. But I don't have that functionality, so that's just something I wanted to bring up that we may look at in the future. You can still determine how many points you did, but it doesn't change how many points you had planned, basically. Other than that, Lauren, I did not reply to your email that you sent earlier this week. As of right now, I do not have an extra room in my house, but that's I'll call it to be determined for the 2024 Solar Eclipse watching party, because by then I think both of my daughters will be graduated from high school, and we don't plan on living in the same house then. We plan on living in the same house, so we'll call that a to be determined.
I have a comment on the process improvement, I guess.
Go ahead.
For those of us who haven't 10 or 15 hours in for the week, it seems silly to block off a whole day as rest. So I'm going to propose that it be proportional to how much time we've actually put in.
Oh, Michael, this is coming from you, a person who's got a huge backlog and such high expectations. I'm only trying to catch up to the amount of work that you do, like 10, 15 hours a day. Like, I don't know. Sometimes the amount of work you put in is like, I don't know how I'm able to credit it. So, okay, to change up the wording, that's respectfully take.
I'm not actually proposing to change the wording. I'm just wondering how we interpret the process. Because if you're wanting to block off a whole day, and you haven't put any time into Wikispeed this week, it seems like you're resting from not doing what you had wanted to do anyway.
One of the things, though, Michael, is, I know you work your butt off at work also, so it's sometimes there's conflicting priorities. So I think the idea is just to make sure that you get at least a day of rest from everything, right? But again, I mean, it's personal preference. I mean, I think what we're figuring out is that if you need a rest day, and I think we can plan that out ahead of time, but that if you're snoozed or on vacation in Slack, so.
Okay, fair enough. Just looking for the interpretation.
Fantastic, thank you. That cleared me up. I was going to tackle that on. Two things, but before I go into more detailed discussion about the burn down, which I could do a screen share and go from there, and I think Chris, you also wanted to demo the website as well, let's go ahead and hash out with the core team right now that we have of what tomorrow's sprint planning looks like, and what time, and what we want to accomplish.
I'm good with whatever.
I haven't made it for one of these. I'm not even sure what time it is. Sorry, Chris.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I haven't made it to one of these sprint planning checks, but the notification going after it already happened. Darn, missed another one. So, three. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, can you hear me? You jumbled a little bit at it sounded garbled a little bit.
Okay.
You,
Normally I see the notification after the planning session's already been happened, and I get back to my office and I see the notification is like, oh darn, I missed another one. So, is it the same time every week, or does it move a little bit?
it was, I think last week was the first one we attempted, and so we made that happen, I think, the day of, kind of on the fly to test that out. And yes, so based on that feedback that you gave earlier, I wanted to actually make sure we solidified that on Crosstalk right now, so then whoever wants to join the sprint planning is able to, and we're going to attempt to be as flexible as possible to do so. Tomorrow is the 25th, and last sprint planning we had was on Friday also, from 10 to 11 Pacific Standard Time, over a video chat, Google Hangouts.
Okay, good enough. I should be able to get this week.
Very good. I will go ahead and set up a calendar invite and send that out after the crosstalk. And then the next item that I wanted to discuss and screen share right now is the burn down. And I'm going to attempt to do this as quickly and effectively as possible. Can you all still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I can hear you, but you've got
you can hear me, but yes, that screen is crazy. So let me go ahead and enlarge that. So this is our burn down, and then the edit chart data is what we can do. So there's initial certain dates of when that is happening as far as points remaining. That is as far as editing that data goes. So if that needs to be corrected, we can do so. There's also this settings over here to set when the sprint duration is, and that's what we did last week, was to this last sprint, which was changing this to 1 week sprint at a time. So in the chart data, I think for tomorrow when we're doing the sprint planning, we can take a look at this and see what we need to do in terms of editing as part of our planning for that. That way we can get the accurate data that we have from last week compared to the week before, and that way we'll have 2 very good weeks of accurate data, as more accurate as possible as we hone in on what that looks like in terms of our velocity, and then of course set the precedent for what our next sprint is going to look like as well. And I'm going to stop screen sharing. Did anyone not get to see that and hear that? Okay, that is it for me. Chris, I think you wanted to demo the website? Or Michael, did you have something?
You had asked, I think, if anybody or if everybody saw that. I was just going to say yes, I did see it. But
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. And everybody can see this, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm pretty much just going to scroll over it, but I'm going to at least comment on this is the top section that has the title here and the calendar. Like I said, now that is a WordPress page, so anyone that basically can use the word processor can go in and edit any of the wording and it really any functionality that's going to end up here. It uses a short code, which is just basically just like it sounds. It's a little code with with brackets around it to insert this calendar. Like I said, we put the names underneath the team, and then now when you mouse over it, it actually has the title there. There's a link to the Wikispeed Expo, and that's been fully updated. And I see that I guess today Joe actually put a new blog in. This blog, it shows the latest two, and you can actually scroll through them to go to previous ones with these arrows. And then the link up top actually takes you to the blog. Just a second. All of these little contact links, if you click on the email one, it will bring up your email client. This one brings up Google Maps, and if you're on your phone and click the phone number, it actually will pull up your phone app. And then, of course, we have the latest news, which is the most recent. I may actually change that to be more than just 3. The upcoming events, and then recent comments on blogs. And that's about it. I'll show the regular blog page here, which basically just lists out the blogs and then the store, which shows which items we currently have for sale. Right. Because I'm logged in, some of these actually are not publicly visible normally, because they're set to private. But that, I don't know, just as a quick rundown of what we've been working on.
Thank you very much, Chris, for sharing. And yes, it is looking great. And also strike that and try again. And also the work behind it is humbling to see that forming together and coming together.
I'm just going to make a comment. My wife made me mute my phone because it was making too much noise with all the stuff that Chris and William were getting done. So kudos to you. That's the first time I've had to do that. Put it that way.
Thank you, Michael. Oh, that's so great. Also, before I forget, really, because I remember reading the process improvement, I'd like to nominate, Lauren as the so-called MVP for the week. We actually, I believe Joe mentioned that he received the response from the IRS for the federal 501c application, and we can be now officially, 501c3 status pending for that. And for Lauren spearheading that for the last 3 years, of course, thank you so much. You deserve it, and we really appreciate all your hard work and dedication to that. So, Lauren, thank you. This is to you.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And then lastly,
I wanted to mention 2 things that are actually going to be. I left out of the stand-up. One was the past week. Me and a bunch of people did that Steadicam, that $15 Steadicam. Posted the links to that to the people who wanted them, and the GoPro knockoffs. I'm drafting an email. I haven't done yet. I've got experience with 3 kinds and a little bit more information about. So I wanted to just work on that some more, and I'm actually writing reviews of 1 or 2. So anyway, coming week there'll be stuff about the GoPro knockoffs.
That sounds good. Are any of them waterproof, Lauren? Or is that the cases?
Now these knockoffs, one of the good features of them is that they come with all the accessories that you normally pay for. So there's all kinds of head mounters and tape and zip ties, and the cases come, and the cases are supposedly waterproof to 30 meters. I like about them is just that you can put them outside and forget about them, and they should be safe. I did within a week of buying mine in Phoenix, which I did buy at Fry's, I remember. Within a week of buying it, I zip tied it. So I learned two things. One is that they had two little zip ties, and I tied them to my running armband, and I went running with it. And it fell off from about 4 feet high to the sidewalk, and it was undamaged. So I learned that it was, the case made it fairly rugged, and that they don't trust the zip ties if you're doing something that bounces it around like running.
Okay.
So yes, yeah, I mean that's a major feature for me, is because I may get busy, but if I put it out at the bird feeder, it's going to stay safe.
So the bird feeder is, so these things are motion, but they have a setting for just taking video when there's something moving?
That's another whole thing. So like when it's busy, I just put it out. The latest one I bought has a wristband, a little watch-like thing that you can turn on either the video or take a photo in the middle of the video, or turn it off.
Right.
That's so on standby, and the battery life is a big issue, so I'm writing all that up. They run anywhere from half an hour to an hour and a half. The memories, the latest one I got, first one I got was 32. It would take 32 gigs. One I got took 64, and then the latest one I got it'll take 128 gig SD card. So the battery is the limiting factor. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get all this into the email I'll send. I'll post that with the team.
Okay, so you actually changed the 64 gig, right?
Can you say again?
Format of the micro SD card changes between 62 and 64 gig?
Oh, it's just a maximum. You can put any size, but there's a maximum. The maximum that it'll handle. And the first one I got, the maximum was 32. It's up to 128 now. And they're changing really fast. That's the major thing that I'm seeing, is that every month the capabilities, and often they don't advertise. Like the latest one I got, it didn't even advertise it. It does 240 frames at the probably 720p VGA. So that's the high. Again, I think they're getting chips. They're getting chips, upgraded chips, and they're scrambling to just incorporate features and do things with them. So.
Sounds like Scrum.
Yeah. I mean, there's something going on with, like, the chips are coming out and they're improving rapidly, and people are getting good at incorporating the features, but they probably
Not so good at documentation.
The
Sound familiar?
Yeah, I mean, even advertising, they're understating what it can do.
Amazing.
Want to talk about?
One last thing for me. Just before stand-up, a little while ago, when we were scrumming and working at a Starbucks for their Wi-Fi, because there's nothing here at this condo, it's vacant. We're lucky to have water and power. And a Wikispeed old schooler came up and said, "Hey, how do you guys know Wikispeed?" I was like, "Oh, I'm the product owner." So Derek Louie came up and had ordered coffee and was chatting or ordered a drink and came up and chatted and talked and wanted to see what's going on. And we invited them to come out to the expo and to look us up again. And I asked for a card, and so he says hello. Such a small world. Didn't think anybody else. He actually saw the back of my laptop, which has a Team Wikispeed bumper sticker on there, and it was this great advertisement conversation in a public place. Like, hey, how do you know Team Wikispeed? Like, well, let me tell you. So amazing. It's great. I think it might encourage other people to work out in public, and who knows, maybe you'll run into another person that happens to know Team Wikispeed. It sounds like they've been there before I was, so I'm going to call them an old schooler or even OG, as some of you are, because you are all OGs, and I'm just a new kid on the block trying to figure this out. And that is it for me. Does anyone have anything else to share or cross talk with before we conclude? All right, then. That concludes it with 56 minutes and 12 seconds. Thank you all so much. I've sent out the calendar invite for tomorrow's sprint planning to each and every one of you that's been on the call, including also Gunnar and Christina, our intern. Should you have any questions, please do share with us either on Slack and or email. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. on the video call. Have a good night, folks.
Okay, good night.
Night.
High fives, everyone.
All right. See you guys.